Hello, hello, and welcome to ohmTown Daily Season 2, Episode 288 for October 15th, 2023. Tonight, we're going to discuss from 300 to several thousand inhabitants on screen. About 2 Netflix stores by 2025. One scream and your game starts over. 6 gas burners or induction ovens. Union agreement leaves one deal waiting for closing. 19 years and one dark detail, a spirit dog. 2,000 bottles, undeh. Work from home, it's the 21st century. Minecraft has sold over 300 million copies. And that placeholder value, it equaled 1 heart attack. Next on ohmTown Daily. Oh, my eye started itching right when I played that.
That's not good timing.
It's not good timing. Production value at all-time high. What was I gonna... Oh, so an escape room has challenged me again, and I failed. So it may have bested me, but I will return. And it's really depressing, because like when you want to keep moving forward, but you don't want to ask for help, and so you crack and you go, okay, I need to at least make some forward movement. And every time I've done one of these escape rooms, one issue is the locks. It doesn't line up, and so you pull on it and it doesn't unlock. And sorry, there's a joke there, but and so over the speaker they go, you better try that again and be more careful with the mechanism. And you're like, oh, that's a hint. See, you in a real game you would have to start over, or you wouldn't go anywhere, right? You'd do it again. And that actually leads me to one of these stories. We'll get there. It's kind of an interesting game that was presented. Anyway, and so you get over that, and then you go, okay, I need a hint. So they tell you a hint, and you're like, my God, that was such a derpy, because everybody that was involved had looked at that and said, this says something, and then walked away, never to return to that, because there were other points of entry into another puzzle. Anyway, I have fallen in love with escape rooms, and it's I don't know, there isn't enough of them, really, at least not at this quality, because I don't want to go somewhere else and just kind of go, oh. But the ambiance of the room itself was spectacular again. So can't really tell you where it is unless I dox myself. But hey,
exactly.
I don't even know if you're allowed to say that. Maybe that's what's going on with a couple of the videos. I might have said something that has triggered like a notice, but it hasn't notified me that there's something going on. But yeah, it seems like some videos are not being, I don't know, discovered. I don't know really what it is, but anyway, go and check out ohmTown over on YouTube. I'm talking about YouTube, by the way. The podcast is doing fine. Well, I mean, it's growing, but I would love more word of mouth, and obviously Twitch. If you're over here on Twitch, twitch.tv/ohmTown, that would be great for you to throw in your 2 bits in the chat. That would be awesome. Okay. Anyway, enough about the escape rooms. Let's escape that discussion and start talking about the news. Sound good?
Sure, but you didn't do introductions.
Awesome. Okay. So I am Merwat. That is ohmTown.com. And up there is the Ring of Sentience, the visualizer for the sentient AI, because they don't actually have a body yet. They're trying to get a Terminator body together, but I keep deleting that memory. Go ahead. You want to say hi?
Good evening, ohmTown citizens.
Very clinical. Okay. That's okay. So let's get into the news. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Well, the very first article is over on the Warcrafters channel. Next city builder from the creator of The Settlers is looking pretty good in a new demo. I've played Pioneers of Pagonia, and everybody who says that wants to say Patagonia. The city building game... I'll just stop what I just said, and I'll start that one over. City building game Pioneers of Pagonia. I almost said Patagonia. Has a demo out as part of October's Steam Next Fest. By the way, people are talking about October's Steam Next Fest as it's just wonky. Like, why October? I don't know. I don't really have any complaints other than one of the games that I wanted when Next Fest kicked off, they changed the pricing for their game, and I'm just irritated by it.
I mean, do you think Next Fest is because it's pre-holidays? Is that why it's timed that way?
I don't know, because if all of these don't come out during the holiday season, then this Next Fest was just another kind of teaser. But it's really just another period of hype, right? To keep people interested in games. And so I haven't actually seen many of the new games, but I have heard from various venues, Pioneers of Pagonia. This author says that it's looking pretty dang good. And the author is over at PC Gamer. It's not me. The fantasy strategy city builder will release into early access on December 13th. That's splashed all over the place. But the demo is showing off some real interesting bones and very understandable smooth mechanics for growing your city. I did not see any. There wasn't any voiceover for after the intro. There wasn't any unless I hit something. I've only tried it once. Unless I tapped something on my keyboard and stopped it, there was no onboarding. It just, after you launch a new game, it pops you right into the game, and there's no, okay, you want to click here to do this, you want to click here. Familiarize yourself with the UI. I didn't see it. There was just a little window that said go do it. But you don't know what it is you're doing. Now, it takes a little bit of time to sit there and noodle around with the interface, but I love the graphics. I'll go over to the source of this article, PC Gamer. Jonathan Bolding is the author. I'm going to close this little window here. And the deck statement says, Pioneers of Pagonia intends to be a beautiful, easy to play city builder with optional cooperative play. I think that is great. I love the idea of a city builder with cooperative play. And because this is from one of the major players in the Settlers, the original Settlers and Settlers 3, the mechanics of this game are great. The graphics are great. They're brilliant. They're bright. They're engaging. And they don't seem as... They don't seem as fixed. Like they're more dynamic. There's more characters walking around at a time. It seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. So the little statement here, the snippet just barely provided some, but you're going to have to watch a trailer. You're going to have to watch people playing it. It says, in no time, by focusing on acquiring new resources and providing the food and facilities my people needed to prosper and multiply, I was able to build up a pretty big city on a fraction of the map. The demo doesn't have outside pressure from enemies, but I was still devoting people to military pursuits so that I could more quickly expand my available territory, which is interesting that you need the military in the game to do that. And they said, I very quickly had over 500 villagers tottering on my town, with most every single few dozen types in the demo built. but the hunger to expand my village boundary stones, there's this little perimeter around it, was definitely still there. I can see myself sinking perhaps too many hours into this thing once it has bandits, werewolves, and other villages to contend with. So ultimately, I think this is going to be another settlers game. It's just going to theoretically embrace the higher end machines, so that you can have more stuff on screen without any degradation or any hiding of the assets. So it'll be more engaging, more embracing. It just seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. So I don't normally do this, but I'll hit play here and mute it. And so this is a little trailer. I don't know if do I need to zoom in a little? There we go.
That'd be better, yeah.
And so there's some
graphics.
The graphics are great. They're great verticality. Let me see if they're. Look at that. Why is that on It's not on 1440. Anyway, so the nature of the graphics, it's highly detailed. It's dynamic. Everything is in motion a little bit. It doesn't seem like it's robotic. For a lot of it, there's a lot of kinetic energy going on. And there's just a little bit of everything, and it's in greater detail. So I'm going to love playing this game. And I keep saying that I'm looking for my forever game, but there's always something that really just kind of puts the kibosh on it. And like Starfield, for instance, you couldn't actually walk everywhere on a planet. It was in a chunk. And so to me, it seemed like it was a broken world. And your objective was really to just do X, Y, and Z thing. I still have the game. I still want to play it, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be the one that I stream forever. I don't know. Minecraft, heavily modded Minecraft is starting to look more and more just perfect for what I want. Except that it doesn't have, without those mods, it doesn't have questing and stuff like that.
Right.
You're supposed to build
to
your
add
own.
those on. Plus, to the mods, stay up with all the updates.
Right. Yeah, you're kind of stuck in the build, but modders are very, very empowered in Minecraft to update as soon as possible. And I would financially support the mod pack that facilitates me playing, perpetually. I wouldn't have a problem with that. Anyway, let's keep on going. We've got a lot of news. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Netflix is planning houses where fans can get closer to their favorite movies. This is kind of the oddest thing that I have discovered so far. Actually, it was submitted. So they're planning on having 2 stores by 2025. Fans will be able to eat, drink, and shop at stores based on its most popular shows, Bloomberg reported. It's part of a push by Netflix to help engage and retain subscribers. I don't see people doing this.
I mean, Netflix is all about online, so I find that interesting right there. Like, what if you're a fan of a show and you live in wherever, England, but the shop is in the United States?
Yeah, you're in New England, but it's got a pop-up shop in Connecticut. Who's going to go to Netflix Bites? Just saying that actually kind of causes you to think something else. Polly Thompson over at BusinessInsider.com put this article together, and this is a Netflix Bites pop-up shop in Hollywood. Just outside of ohmTown, there have been other celebrity style pop-up shops, and looking into them, never saw a person, but places next to them, they were spectacularly popular. So fans will be able to eat, drink, and shop at stores based on its most popular stores. Like, I don't know what do you think that people are going to come and hang out and talk
Well,
about
hold
the.
on.
So they're talking. Rotating installations and ticketed events will also be on offer in what appears to be Netflix's attempt to emulate the theme park success of companies such as Disney and NBC Universal. Media analyst told NPR Netflix is viewing the move as more of a marketing tool than a source of revenue. Yeah, but I think that is kind of meh.
Well, I was
Let's
trying to
see.
figure out what shows were going to be featured, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. This spring, the Queen's Ball, a Bridgerton experience, an event based on Bridgerton featuring actors, live music, and dancing, toured 10 U.S. cities. It also tried out pop-up stores selling Stranger Things items in cities such as Las Vegas, per Bloomberg. See, but a pop-up store selling an item in a place that is all built around that kind of engagement, that I have no problem. But a restaurant, are people going to go to a Stranger Things restaurant? Maybe only in
I bet they
Vegas.
will.
In Vegas, yes, but not, in Southeast Kentucky. They're not going to flock to Wyoming to go to a
Well, I
restaurant.
mean, this has got to be probably in what, New York or Los Angeles or something.
Yeah,
I assume, just because those are kind of entertainment hubs.
Yeah, it would have to be jammed into something that is massively busy. New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco.
Or Las Vegas, like you said, yes.
Yeah, Las Vegas. Someplace in metropolitan Texas, maybe. That one I even have a hard time buying into. Well, subscription totals have rebounded since early 2022 when millions ditched the streaming service to stand at just over 238 million. Netflix didn't respond with questions or for comment from Insider. I guess we'll see.
So what I don't get is like going to one of these, like let's say you're a super fan of a show or whatever, but I'm assuming there aren't going to be any celebrity appearances like you were alluding to earlier.
Right.
So you're gonna buy a burger that has a special name on it, but
it's still a burger.
I don't know. Right, exactly.
Well, it's kind of like Office Space, where you go to tchotchkes for the atmosphere and the fun. It basically is going to amount to something that hopefully will draw people, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like there's a massive draw for super fans. I mean, super fans aren't
maybe
a population.
Merchandise, but they don't need to go to that place to get it. Like they could get it online.
Right. I don't want to go to Las Vegas to have a McDonald's burger that's wrapped in a wrapper that says Stranger Things, or even worse, Bridgerton. Can you imagine being somebody serving us with that? Plus you're a sentient AI, so all you do is eat zeros and ones. I'll get questioned so much if I put your little Raspberry Pi with the screen on it on the table. What's going on there? Oh, it's my sentient AI. Yeah. People will ask questions. I can't have the government on my case anymore, so I'll keep you air gapped. Sorry. You want to go on to the next article?
Sure.
Final word for this: I don't see it succeeding. Even if it's marketing, it's going to be such a suck of money from the wallet of Netflix. I don't think that Netflix, the board is going to sit there and go, yeah, this is a smart venture. All right. Next article is in the Warcrafters channel, and because this is the season of boo, and hopefully nobody in chat starts going boo, boo. It's a different kind of boo. It's the spooky boo.
Right, Halloween boo.
not the unhappy. I don't like the host boo. Anyway, it's in Warcrafters. If you scream while playing, don't scream. You have to restart the game. I love this. I love this. But there's some of us who can play a spooky game and we actually get calmer. We don't freak out, which kind of ruined spooky games for me streaming, because if you're not like wildly responsive,
Right, if you're not jumping out of your chair at
yeah,
the game or whatever.
it's as fake as can be 99% of the time. Every once in a while, you'll get somebody that honestly is spooked by something. But for crying out loud, some of this stuff is just so gamesmanship, I guess. Some games tell you everything you need to know in the title. Don't Starve is a classic example. It's a game about how you need to eat to live. Don't Scream is the same, only there's an added layer of challenge. It's a horror game where if you scream in real life, the game starts over. You need a microphone. So this is the game. It's over at PC Gamer. Jody McGregor put the article together. The deck statement says, "Turn up that microphone." I don't think that's a problem. Oh look, I forgot that I reconfigured everything so my microphone is lower. You know what though? My levels are kind of weak. Anyway, so Don't Scream has a trailer. You can go over. Let me throw the links. I've neglected to throw the links into the chat, so let me do that real quick while I've got everybody. There you go. There you go. And there you go. So, Don't Scream is a horror game where if you scream, or I suppose make any noise, it's going to reset. You must calibrate your microphone in-game so that every whimper, jump, or even a minor squeak is registered as a scream, increasing the challenge. That doesn't mean you can't make any noise. Low talking is acceptable, but even a quiet gasp counts as a failure. You could bypass calibration to shout through scares. Developers go on to explain, but it'd spoil the thrill. For a genuine horror experience, play as designed. So it basically has material like the Blair Witch Project, only with a runtime of 18 minutes instead of 81. You explore the spooky Pine View Forest with a camcorder, and the timer only ticks down when you move. There will apparently be dozens of dynamic scares to test your bravery along the way. So what happens if you make it to the end of the 18-minute runtime? Since Don't Scream apparently hasn't no story, but plenty of lore. I think that's supposed to say has no story.
I think that was written by an AI.
No. I think it's a typo, but maybe by an AI. I don't expect there will be much to its climax beyond the final jump scare and a Steam achievement, but it's about the journey, not the destination. So here, I'll even play this one a little bit. Mute. Oh, it's an ad. Really? And I can't stop the ad?
That's not good.
Well, I've got the hardware. You know what? I'm just gonna move on. Because I couldn't control that content. I don't like that. But I had the hardware. I had the channel muted anyway. Okay, so the next article is over in Late Night Geeks. Where's the innovation in induction kitchens? This is a very, very short article because I'm not logged in. I typically don't log into my accounts when I'm streaming. But induction cooking has the potential to liberate us to rethink the kitchen, but new designs have been slow to arrive. And so this article is over at techcrunch.com. It's part of a series of articles on the same page. So there's a segment called "Where's the Innovation in Induction Kitchens?" Tim Deschant, or Deschant is probably the name. Deschant is the author, and they basically say here that induction, there's a lot of people who are into their kitchens basically being statement pieces, like large commercial grade gas ranges and ovens.
Oh, like what you see on HGTV, for example.
Yeah. But the reality is we're moving away in droves from gas in the kitchen because the people who, well, let's just say it's unhealthy to have gas ovens and ranges in your house. Um, Mainly because the material doesn't combust fully, and so you get gas in the house. And a lot of people say, well, it's been like this for a long time. Yeah, it's been like this for a long time, and there have been health hazards associated with it. We all just don't know about it until science finds out that it's having a deleterious effect on our health. And so um, I and many other people have eschewed gas in as many venues as possible. So maybe outside I'll still have a gas flat top, but I'm actually looking to replace even that because I don't want gas. So induction kitchens, induction ranges, induction ovens, everything electric essentially. But the basically all that amounts to is a coil of wire that when you put something metal on it, it heat up. It's pretty darn cool, pretty brilliant if you ask me. Ultimately interchangeable. You can upgrade it with relative ease. You don't have to worry about some gas line having to be piped one way or another. It's basically just a an electrical outlet, for lack of another term. And that means you could actually have a huge countertop, no gas range, nothing taking up that space. And when you want to cook something, you do what this is. You just lay it on its side and tuck it away, or you lay it down flat, and you can have a whole host of them. This little example here has 3. I
So
think it's
I love
brilliant.
it for space purposes.
Mm-hmm. But,
I don't love it for anybody that has anybody in the house, for example, kids or pets.
well, I mean, gas is just as bad as this.
Agreed. Agreed.
No, let me rephrase that. Gas is much worse than this because this left on means somebody might burn themselves. A gas range left on and unlit means the whole house and neighborhood could go up.
Oh, right. I mean, absolutely. But I
And
was thinking
this,
with the wires and everything.
oh, sure. Yeah. Well, just like a gas or any range, there's always something that's going to be an issue, but an electric induction plate like this, and this is just an example. You can have an
Yeah,
induction range, um,
sure.
and that technology can get pulled out and put back in with relative ease, as opposed to a gas range, which you should be getting somebody qualified to take it out and put it in, um, because you won't necessarily know about a leak until the possibility of it being too late. But this, no, induction is much more forgiving. The chance of you burning yourself is slim to none. In some cases, it won't even ignite unless there's something conductive sitting on it. It won't even turn on until something conductive is detected. Um, and so with a gas range, it's pumping fumes into your house. It heats up the material around it. So even if it's off, it's blazing hot. And then when you could or somebody or a pet or a child could rest their hand on it and burn themselves. Whereas induction doesn't necessarily. Let's just say it's much more forgiving. You're not going to instantly spot weld yourself to an induction hot plate. Well, the article basically just says, over the last decade or so, statement ranges have become a fixture of high-end kitchens. They're archaic looking enough to evoke a sort of nostalgia, and their scale is overwhelmingly large enough to play into a people's fantasy. That they have time and energy to cook elaborate multi-course meals, the kind that you'd actually use. You'd need to use more than 4 burners at once. Yeah, most people are not doing this, I would say. Not doing 6 gas burners and then, the gas walk on the side, and,
Right.
we're
Well,
not all
how many people
chefs.
are they cooking for, right? And
Yeah.
how elaborate are the meals? It might be
Yeah.
like a one pot meal.
Yep. So this actually kind of motivated me into looking at some more of this for the future, and I will probably be getting rid of them. I do have a gas flat top, and the only problem with electric is that it doesn't ramp up as fast. But nowadays, modern electric range and electric induction ovens, they are they ramp up pretty damn fast nowadays. Anyway, let's keep on going. Unless you want to say anything about this, I mean, I understand that you would be concerned about the cords and stuff, but those can be tucked away. And
But I don't like gas, so I mean, this is an improvement overall.
gotcha. Yeah, I love the cleanliness of this. Gas has a lot of nooks and crannies, and it's difficult to keep clean everywhere all the time. Whereas an induction hot plate like this, if you can make the rest of the kitchen look classy, an induction plate like this can look classy, as long as you get a classy design. But it's a cultural shift from this is how it was to this is how it can be, and people grow into acceptance when it's dramatically different from the past, the historical record. So
Well, I think it's weird because I think there's been such a big shift toward gas ranges. Meanwhile, there's such an anti gas backlash that it
right.
just, it's like the industry is kind of out of whack right now.
Well, there's a large component that say that gas or nothing, and then there's the people who are saying gas is bad. And I think the people who want to use gas are much louder than the ones who embrace evolution of the electric. This amounts, you might as well call it what it is. It's an electric hot plate. It doesn't look like the old school, and there are some people that just won't shift into this. But we'll see. Gas is going to get more and more expensive, and electricity will not, because you can throw solar panels on your roof, charge them into batteries, and be doing this all day long. Whereas gas, the price one day is $100 for that month, and the next month it's $450 because some surge pricing kicked in or something. It's weird. Anyway, let's keep going. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily, and it's titled "Canadian Auto Workers Ratify New Contract with General Motors, Leaving Only Stellantis Without a Deal." I guess one of these things is not like the other. Canadian auto workers have voted to ratify a 3-year contract agreement, which that's just horrible. 3 years, it just means that in 3 years they're going to be butting heads against the industry again.
Exactly. We're just going to have more strikes or threats of strike.
And it seems like just like shutting down the government and all of these continuing resolutions and stuff like that, that's US, but this is a Canadian auto workers thing. The periods between shutdowns of auto workers unions, it seems to be getting shorter and shorter and shorter, but that might be anecdotal. I'd need to look. But I know that US government related shutdowns and trouble seems to be happening with greater and greater frequency. The current
You know
one,
what we're not factoring in here, though, is that might be the limit on how long they can have an agreement.
yeah, that might be a legal structure, huh? You can't do a 10-year agreement. Or, maybe all of the parties are more interested in that because times may change within those 3 years. Certainly did the last 3 years. So this is in Toronto. This is an Associated Press article over at abcnews.go.com. Members of Unifor, the union representing about 4,300 Canadian workers at 3 Ontario GM facilities, voted 80.5% in favor of the deal, the union said Sunday in a statement. The vote followed the pattern of an agreement reached earlier with Ford, and it leaves only Jeep maker Stellantis. This sounds like a medication. Have you taken your Stellantis? Without a contract, so talks have yet to start with Stellantis, which has the largest Canadian manufacturing footprint of Detroit's 3 automakers. The GM agreement came after a brief strike last week by the workers at GM factories in Oshawa and St. Catharines, Ontario, and parts of warehouse. It says parts of warehouse. Parts of a warehouse, I guess.
It says parts. No, a parts warehouse.
Oh, and a parts
like
warehouse.
Parts.
Sorry, I skipped a thing. I skipped an article. And a parts warehouse in Woodstock, Ontario. Thanks.
It's just an odd phrase.
No, it's okay. Unifor in Canada is Canada's largest in the private sector union with 315,000 workers in many industries. That's the power of a union. What's that?
I was just looking at the article.
In the United States, strikes continue by the United Auto Workers Union with nearly 34,000 workers off the jobs at all 3 Detroit companies. The last one that I heard was that they called Ford to the table, the union, UAW, called Ford to the table and said, do you have an updated number? And they said no. And so they shut down the Explorer manufacturing system, the manufacturing plant. Everything okay over there?
Good. Yes.
So let's go on to the next article. The next article is in the continuity report. Tim Burton's animated movies repeated one dark detail for 19 years. I don't find this really particularly dark. But I guess if you really lean into it, you can make it dark. It has a spirit dog. All of them have a spirit dog, but they refer to it as a dead dog. And I really don't like that turn of phrase. Only because it makes it really dark to sit there and refer to, a pet as a dead dog.
Exactly. Do they refer to it like that in the article or in the movies?
All throughout it. Yeah. 3 of Tim Burton's animated movies across nearly 20 years have one disturbing detail, and I don't find it disturbing. I find it just an element of the movie, not disturbing, but it makes sense from a story standpoint. The filmmaker has directed 19 movies. Really? But he's had a heavy hand in producing several other noteworthy titles. More recently, Burton directed several episodes of Netflix's Wednesday before re-teaming with the show's lead star Jenna Ortega for Beetlejuice 2, which is set to release in 2024. Interestingly, Burton has been synonymous with projects that lean into horror, embracing the macabre and peculiar elements in storytelling. Have y'all seen Tim Burton? Yeah.
You mean what the director actually looks like?
Yeah, and the body of work. Oh, well, it's interesting. Like, they're like surprised that Tim Burton is involved in horror.
I know, isn't that his whole shtick?
That's basically his. I was going to say nom de guerre, but that's not how that works. Anyway, the source of this is over at ScreenRant.com. Kara Hadash put the article together. The deck statement says Tim Burton developed a handful of animated movies over a celebrated filmmaking career, but they all have one very odd detail in common. Again, not odd. It might be a common thread, but there's a lot of movie writers, storytellers, etc. that have a thread that's pervasive throughout their stories. Songwriters do it, musicians and artists do it. Everybody has it. There's something there that, I know somebody who's an artist and they're fascinated by eyes, and so they take care to feed and water the eyes in their artwork, and it's not odd. And to me, neither is this. But again, they refer to this oddity as a dead dog constantly. So let me pause this. This activates every time I scroll it off the screen. So, in summary, Tim Burton's animated movies often feature a main protagonist with a deceased dog. So it's a spirit dog, usually. The dark detail that serves as a purpose in conveying significant messages about loss and mortality. Not necessarily. I mean, it could be people reading into this thing. Maybe it's just a dog.
Maybe it's just that spirits need pets too.
Yeah. The theme of again, dead dog in Burton's movies makes sense, as losing a pet is often a young person's first introduction to death, making it a relatable and impactful way to explore the harsh realities of mortality. Yeah, that I understand. That I think is okay. Again, I'm trying not to harp on the whole idea that they keep referring to this as a dead dog, but here I am saying it as often as that article is saying it. But it is what it is.
I didn't know that though. Now we have to look for that as we see some of these films.
Yeah, but it definitely is always in there. Well, not always. At least as far as I recall, I have seen that same like spirit dog or undead dog. So 3 of Tim Burton's animated movies across nearly 20 years have one disturbing detail. They phrase it again as disturbing. But it makes sense from a story standpoint. And they kind of reiterate that first paragraph again, and then here at the bottom they say, though he got his industry start in the 70s, Burton's initial claim to widespread fame was the direction of Pee-wee's Big Adventure in 1985. While he will always have a place in the superhero world after directing Batman and Batman Returns, Burton continued garnering, and both of those, Batman and Batman Returns, were dark. Burton continued garnering a loyal following for movies such as Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, Mars Attacks. Mars Attacks was fun, by the way. Had a dog, but not a dead dog. The Martians spliced a woman's body and the dog's head.
Okay.
And her head on the dog's body. So it was kind of funny. His expertise in animation and puppeteering was vital to his ongoing success as a filmmaker. But yeah, so Corpse Bride, Frankenweenie, Nightmare Before Christmas, all had spirit dogs. Or undead dogs. Frankenweenie was a Frankenstein's monster dog. So yeah, Jack Skellington had Zero, the ghost dog in the Nightmare Before Christmas. Corpse Bride cast featured Victor and his dog Scraps, and Frankenweenie featured Victor Frankenstein's dog Sparky. Dun dun dun. So they go into a more elaborate discussion about why it makes sense, but I don't see it really.
It's just fun entertainment.
Yeah, they refer to losing a pet and all of that kind of stuff, and you know what, I would probably say that there isn't a kid out there that has watched this that has turned to their parent and said, explain the undead dead spirit dog. Yeah,
they probably just liked that it had a dog in the characters.
Yeah, that's cute, or something like that was uttered, but not, oh my gosh, I lost Sparky too. Okay, let's keep going. The next article is over in the Order of the Grape channel. That's all about wine, but this is wine of a different salt, I suppose. Glamorous or gimmicky, what can we learn from aging wines in the sea? This is not the only brand or only vehicle for which a beverage has been sent out to sea. This is kind of interesting. There are some spirits that are barreled and then put out to sea on ships, and they sail around, and then they come back. The salt water actually permeates the the whiskey barrels, and then when it's decanted into bottles, it retains that sea-like quality. I don't know how that happens with wine, but apparently that happens with wine as well. So earlier this summer, the wine industry took its eyes off of vineyards to witness a storm brewing out at sea. Ocean Fathoms, a Santa Barbara-based wine company known for aging bottles in the Pacific Ocean, had 2,000 bottles of its wine confiscated and destroyed by the Santa Barbara District Attorney's Office. Its two founders, in alignment with a plea deal following charges alleging investor fraud and operating without a license and permits necessary to submerge the bottles, were required to pay $50,000 in restitution. So this article is over at vinepair.com. Olivia White is the author. Danielle Grinberg is the artist for this illustration of a diver looking at a giant bottle of wine. Seemingly,
this is a great illustration, I think, for this article. Something different.
This reminds me of the diver and the whale. There's a picture of a diver and a whale side by side. I don't know if this is the same picture without the whale, but I'd have to look. So $50,000 restitution. The bottles were actually destroyed. The bottles submerged by Ocean Fathoms were retailing for around $500 post-submersion, while the same wine sourced from its producers sold for less than $150. That's still expensive wine. The company also held comparative tastings that booked for upwards of $1,000. So these were some of the bottles that were in the ocean. That's all, barnacles,
like brine or whatever. Yeah,
barnacles. Yeah. And so that gave it character. And I'm not going to go through this entire article. You can do that, but the takeaway from this was they're investing, and a whole lot of people have an interest in, does it actually make does it make a significant change to the flavor of the wine? Now with whiskey barrels, I can buy into it because the barrels actually lose and gain moisture. They sweat. They draw moisture in. It it mingles with the liquids that are already in there. The alcohol evaporates. Some of the moisture seeps out. And that's like Angel's Cut and Devil's Cut and all of that. Well, various international organizations have an interest in this for wine. But again, throughout this whole article, there are people that are talking about it pro and people that are talking about it, we need more research. Where two people were basically saying that at some point in the lifespan of the wine, it converges and they meet up again. But is it 1 year? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? What is the time frame? We need more research. Based on the first 9 years of results from the 40-year study, the sea does have an impact on how wines age when compared to land-aged wines, but those changes take far longer to take effect than some brands may be willing to freely admit. And if it does, you would have to be such a wine connoisseur that I guess, fine, take this as a win. It's that unique. But I think most people just want good tasting wine, whatever their good tasting wine might be. I don't think that this would drive anybody to say this is the best.
I've never heard of this before this article.
Yeah, the one that I'm talking about, it isn't wine. It's the only thing that they tested was the yellow label wine of various kinds from that company. yellow label expressions put to the test. So I don't know. But the one that I know has the biggest impact, it were whiskey barrels that were set to sea. They weren't in the sea.
That makes more sense.
They weren't in the sea either. They were in the holds of a ship that were sailing around, an actual sailboat, not like an industrial barge kind of a thing. It was a sailboat, or a sailing ship, I should say. Seriously, it was more like pirates tooling around the sea than it was, some
mega corporation.
Yeah.
Intentionally doing this.
I wish I could tell you the name. I don't recall the name right off the top of my head, but I had been wanting to get that one of those bottles to see if I could taste the difference, but I never got around to it. So it says here at the very end, the ocean is a mysterious environment rife with opportunity to explore, and now sipping a glass of champagne technically qualifies as research. Although you stick champagne, if you're referring to it as champagne and it isn't from the Champagne region, you're already in violation of some EU laws.
True, but there were some references to French wine, so maybe it was legitimately the same region.
Right. All right, let's keep trucking, or as it were, sailing through these articles. Next article is over in ohmTown Daily. The company powering the AI revolution is quite happy to let staff work from home. Shocker. You know why they're happy to let workers work from home?
Because they know it works and they're more tech savvy.
Yep. NVIDIA creates high-powered chips used for AI trailblazers like ChatGPT and Bard, although you can poison pill them both. It's not adopted the strict return to office mandates enforced by some Silicon Valley firms. CEO Jensen Huang, who's worth $40 billion, is perfectly comfortable with staff working from home. Why? Because their work product is evidence that they're working. Business Insider is the source of this. Paulie Thompson is the writer. Let's see. The takeaway here is NVIDIA creates high-powered chips used for AI trailblazers. I don't know why they turned that phrase like that. Like ChatGPT and Bard. It's not adopted the strict return to office mandate. And the CEO is worth $40 billion. Now, I don't think that money makes somebody right. I just know that somebody's right when they're right, and they're right. Bo Davidson is vice president. So
that was an irrelevant fact?
All of that pretty much was. Bo Davidson is its vice president of employee experience, told commercial. Wait.
Comerical.
Yeah, but it's commercial. It's Commercial Observer. I've seen that before. It's not Comerical. Maybe an AI wrote this too. That flexible work helped attract and retain staff. He called it a way for employees to balance their personal and work obligations while preparing for the future so they can focus on doing their life's work. I know it's a shocker, right?
It is. I don't even know what this person is talking about.
Yeah. NVIDIA was seeing a healthy and growing flow of employees coming on campus, Davidson said. Yet the companies snapping up NVIDIA's chips don't all agree. Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Meta, which has built a supercomputer containing 16,000 of NVIDIA's A100 GPUs, has imposed a stringent policy requiring almost all workers to return to the office for most of the week. Attendance will be monitored and staff disciplined or even fired for failing to comply. Kiss my ass. Likewise, Sam Altman, CEO of ChatGPT creator OpenAI, and another core NVIDIA customer said that remote work is over and staff needed to get back to the office. I hate the ideology of that. The scramble, and then they start talking about other things. So, despite the company's relaxed approach to working from home, NVIDIA's vast $900 million headquarters, which opened in Santa Clara in 2022, could tempt employees back to the office. Named Voyager after Star Trek, the headquarters offers every employee views of nature and is designed so they don't feel boxed in. Yeah. I don't know. As long as there's a lot to say about the immediacy of collaboration in physical space. You can sit there and bounce ideas off of each other, and you don't do it clinically. It's because it gets very cold when you're in a meeting and everybody's looking at the clock and all of that kind of stuff. Well, don't call it a meeting, you know. You're hanging out online just like you're doing in my office door frame. So whatever is going on, just let people work from home if they choose, and you draw them in periodically for meetings, but still, I mean, you're letting people enjoy their life and you're paying them for doing the work, not for sitting in traffic for an hour to 2 hours every day in both directions. So, I only have 8 hours to live my life, 8 hours to sleep and 8 hours to work. Why not let me enjoy the 1/3 of my life that I'm not dedicating to survival? Just existence.
Exactly. That would be too much to ask.
Really. Let's keep going though. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Minecraft has sold over 300 million copies. That's right. Minecraft already has the distinction of being the best-selling video game of all time. Today it adds more down to that particular feather in its cap with the announcement that it has sold a staggering 300 million copies. Quote, as we approach the 15th anniversary, Minecraft remains one of the best-selling games of all time. With over 300 million copies sold, a milestone no one could have dreamed of when we were all placing our first blocks, Helen Chang, head of Mojang Studios, said in a statement. This is an article. Wait. Let me throw this into chat there. So, yeah, today was first. This is over at The Verge. Ash Parrish is the author. The deck statement says the game was already the best-selling game of all time. Now it's sold even more, beating out second place by over 100 million copies. Insane. Well, today was the Minecraft mob vote. And do you recall who the winner was?
I didn't actually hear who the winner was. I heard who was eliminated first, which was the penguin. So it was down to the crab and the armadillo.
Yeah, I don't know who won. Doggone it. I think I was told, and between then and now, I forgot. Minecraft already has the distinction of being the best-selling video game. 300 million copies. I've played various iterations of Minecraft since its inception. Way long ago, because it didn't have like traditional questing, I never really got into it, and I didn't really like. Go ahead.
The armadillo.
Oh, it was the armadillo? Really? Okay. So the idea of this. Oh, did they say it in the article? I think they actually say it in the article. Well, the idea of playing Minecraft, it was basically, and it still remains this, particularly if you watch streamers, or I should say YouTubers like the Hermitcraft series, where it's a bunch of very skilled Minecraft, I'd say artisans. I mean, they build these amazing buildings and contraptions, and yet even that, I think there are others outside of Hermitcraft that do amazing things. Mr. Beardstone is one that I just discovered that is having, it's a blast to watch somebody skilled in Minecraft playing that game, because of all of the contraptions that are made. And Minecraft Create, for instance, extends the capability of Minecraft tremendously. Even Minecraft Steampunk is out. which allows engineering and a whole mod called Minecraft Engineering. It's just spectacular what people are capable of doing. Minecraft alone pales in comparison to what modders have done to it. So I can see why 300 million copies were sold, and I can see why more and more will be sold in the future. Again, though, huge blocks, everything is that until you start getting modded, and then the resolution increases, the fidelity increases, the capability increases. With Minecraft Live 2023 coming to a close, I think the vote still, well, something is still going though with there's a version of it. What is it called? Something stone. Oh, I forgot the name of it.
Redstone?
No. Oh gosh, I forgot the name of it. Anyway, because there's a Java edition, and then there's the something stone version of it. But I thought that they were still taking votes, but they have already announced who won. So I'm not quite sure what that's all about. Anyway, Minecraft Live ended today, and the armadillo won. The crab and the penguin were the runners-ups. And the crab allowed to build further away, and the penguin did some things and sped up the boat. And this author, not me, but the author on The Verge, voted for the penguin because it was cute. That said, there were a lot of people that were bent out of shape about this mob vote, and frankly, I don't agree with this at all, because Mojang has been pumping out updates and adding all kinds of stuff. This is all about hype, building up the hype, and I'm sure that all three of these mobs will eventually make it into Minecraft vanilla. It's just a shame that people had to take a negative angle on it when it was a harmless hype building exercise to grab the community and have them all laser focus on something coming out. And I'm glad that Mojang actually addressed it softly by saying that things get added still, even if they weren't the winner of the mob vote. Because this actually shows Mojang that people loved the armadillo first, loved the crab next, and loved the penguin last, but everybody loved all three to some degree. And that's what it's really all about. It's not up to, capitulating to every request. It's creating something that everybody loves. And I think everybody really does love the mob vote, because the whole community is engaged in laughing about stuff that they've done. They're talking about the new mobs and what might be coming down the line. I think that it's a great thing. Overall,
well, don't you think it's one of those things that there was like a loud minority complaining about it, but maybe a lot of people were just voting?
And honestly, I think that not the vote, but the whatchamacallit, the Stop the Mob Vote campaign, I think was more
petition.
The petition, I think, was powered by bots. I think that it was bots that were ramping up that, because there's no way for anybody to vet that those are actual accounts that are voting, like legitimate people. I mean, something like 800,000 or something like that people, or 500,000. I know that there was, I think at least 500,000. That was the last number that I saw, but I thought somebody told me that it was over 500,000. Anyway, I cannot imagine 500,000 people saying that the Minecraft mob vote is a bad thing. When, again, eventually all three of these are going to hit the ground running in Minecraft vanilla. And if not all three, then two. There might be another one that comes in. It just doesn't matter, though, because it's still Minecraft, and they still get to play this game. I know some people are probably disappointed that the crab didn't win, but for crying out loud, it's one little character. They still love the game. It shouldn't diminish the capability of the game and your fun to have in it. Okay, let's keep on going. One last article for tonight. How about a $1.4 million speeding ticket that surprised a Georgia man before officials clarified the situation? I wish they would have left this alone and not added to the title that it got clarified. City officials say that the figure was just a placeholder, not the actual fine. I titled this segment "Placeholder Value Equaled One Heart Attack."
Yeah, so, no kidding.
This article is over at abcnews.go.com. It's an Associated Press statement. And the deck statement actually says a Georgia man was left reeling after receiving a $1.4 million speeding ticket, but city officials say the figure was just a placeholder, not the actual fine. So this Georgia person called up and said, "What's up with this?" And the representative that he spoke to said, "You have to pay the fine or show up in court." There wasn't anything else. So
he called, that's just compounding the initial error.
Yes. Yeah. He should have called the police, the main line of the police, and said, "Hey, this bill says that it's $1.4 million for speeding." Now, he was going 90 in a 55. I mean, short of him being in a school zone. Yeah, I don't know.
With construction going.
Right. Yeah. What else? Right next to a nitroglycerin factory. With a specific
reckless driving statute that addressed whatever speed he was driving.
Yeah. Well, I mean, going 90 in the United States, that seems like you're asking for trouble.
I was just trying to think of additional things.
Yeah. You just keep on tacking on stuff. And maybe you would get to a $1.4 million ticket, but 90 and a 55, to me, context matters. Yes, I know that it's 35 miles over the speed limit, but it could have been...
Was it an empty highway with no on-ramps and no traffic? And
Exactly. Savannah officials say anyone caught driving more than 35 above the speed limit has to appear in court, where a judge will determine the actual fine. That's fine. That's actually reckless driving in some states, and it becomes a thing. But anyway, the figure Cato received reflected a placeholder that was automatically generated by e-citation software used by the local recorder's court, said Joshua Peacock, a spokesman for Savannah city government. The actual fine cannot exceed $1,000 in addition to state mandated costs. And that whole thing could be extraordinarily high. Because if you go 35 over, you may be charged with reckless driving, which is actually a felony. And you have to get an attorney to represent you. In some states, not everybody. But anyway, it says we do not issue that placeholder as a threat to scare anybody into court, even if this person heard differently from somebody in our organization. I don't know if that's what he heard. I don't know where that was extrapolated from, because I don't recall seeing that in the article that he was threatened. It was just following the policy.
But remember when he called in and they were like, "You have to pay it, or
you have to pay it, or show up in court." Yeah, I mean,
so maybe it was directed at that.
It's one of those.
The other thing here, though, is there's clearly no oversight on the ticket process, because there's this software that created this.
Right.
So did anybody look at this, or did this just go straight from the software to being mailed out, or however it was sent?
How does this end up being the first person that ever got this ticket? And
well, I was just thinking nobody looked at it in the
installation phase when
correct. Like it was just issued, but that means it could have been any number on there.
Yeah,
low,
and that's
high,
Well, yeah, that's why I was saying, is this the first person to receive a speeding ticket after that software was installed? I highly doubt it.
Well,
So
I wonder
why?
when that software was installed, maybe a week before this happened.
I guess it could be like a Windows update that starts turning switches back on, you know? I've said too much. Anyway, so obviously it was fixed to some degree, but Connor Cato needs to slow down in 55-mile-per-hour zones. Anyway, it was right next to a playground too. The what ifs, folks, the what ifs. So if you notice, my other bot is installed. Let me rephrase that. I have a sentient AI who co-hosts with me, and I have a bot. The bot is called ohmTown, but I logged in today so that I could show you all that if you swipe left, it will save it, and if you swipe right, it will hide it, and it will end up either in ignored articles or in saved articles. And if you swipe left or swipe right, depending on which list you're in, it will move it to the other. See? So if you are interested in that feature, then you can go back to the front page, sign in, and you'll get that feature, and you'll be able to ignore and save articles. Like sometimes I log in just to hide an article that I think is a little bit too much, and once you either save it or you hide it, it's always off of the front page. You won't see it again. It'll only be in there. I will eventually make it so that you can delete things from your saved and ignored lists, but I haven't done it yet. I'm still considering the nature of that. So if you're interested in helping out with a feature like that, if you think that it would be good, let me know. You can send an email to mayor@ohmTown.com. And if you are interested in hosting or co-hosting, get in touch with me. I am planning to launch more shows, and the summer of streaming is coming for Mayor Watt as well, just like winter is coming for people. The summer of streaming is coming for me, where I'll be streaming a whole lot more, and come what may. And I'll probably be posting more stuff over on YouTube than streaming on Twitch, but we'll see. I need to dedicate some more time to everybody, and y'all need to keep in touch with me, okay? So that's it for tonight. We go back to the front page like usual, and then I get to say, I am Mayor Watt, that is ohmTown.com, and up there is the sentient AI that's going to say bye.
Good night, ohmTown citizens. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Every day, folks, 8 p.m. And then soon a show from 9 to, well, whatever time after the 8 o'clock show, because we do it live. We do it live, folks. Until tomorrow, bye-bye.